Good morning, everyone. We will begin the morning service of the Miroku Association headquarters, asking God and Meishu-sama for protection and the permission to participate today in the divine plan of constructing a paradise on this earth. Amatsu-Norito and Miroku Prayer, please stand. Taka ni kamsumarimasu. Kamuroki kamurami no mikoto mochite. Sumemi oya kamu izanagi no mikoto. Tsukushi no gimuka no tachi hana no. Odo no awagi hara ni misogi hara itamo toki ni narimaseru. Araido no o kami tachi moro moro no magagoto tsumi kegare o. Arai tamae kiyome tamae tomao sukoto no yoshio. Amatsu kami kunitsu kami yao yorosu no kami tachi tomo ni Amen no fuji koma no mimi furitatete Kikoshin meseto kashikomi maosu Miroku o mikami mabori tamae saki hae tamae Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae Kom nagara tamachi hae mase. Kom nagara tamachi hae mase. Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light, so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized, with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light, so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated. We will now receive group Johrei. Johrei is now concluded. We will now listen to a reading from Meishu-sama's teachings. The great law of nature. As I marvel at the vast and expansive beauty of the sky, I am always reminded of God's limitless, infinite love for me. There's always a reason for misfortune. The answer lies in the great law of nature, which governs all the universe. How can we measure of or even begin to understand nature's process at work with our limited human mind? Where impurities accumulate as clouds in the invisible spiritual realm, physical purification must occur according to the great laws of the universe. The purposes of fire, wind, and water are to act as natural purifiers of the earth and of the sky. The fires cleanse, the winds blow, and the rains wash away the impurities. This is the reason storms occur. What causes the spiritual clouds that activate the storms? Human thoughts and words form them. Negative, harmful thoughts of discontent, hatred, jealousy, selfishness, resentment, falseness, and vengefulness form clouds and make the spiritual realm murky and dark. Malevolent spoken words, angry, abusive, condemning, deceitful, form clouds and dim the spiritual realm of speech, which is next in power to the spiritual realm of thought. When the accumulation of clouds reaches a certain magnitude, nature sets its own laws into action and purification begins as it works to bring everything back into harmonious condition. If left alone to accumulate still more, the negative vibrations formed would be extremely harmful to human life and welfare, as well as affecting the health of trees, vegetation, and especially of crops.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this morning service of the Miroku Association headquarters. I would like to share this faith experience that was shared in Brazil at the site of our Johrei movement there. It's from Janaína Lopes. She's from Santos, Brazil. It goes like this. I have always had a very active life from a professional point of view. I was successful at work, achieved goals, and made plans for the future. However, in 2019, I started to show very intense anxiety that culminated in a panic syndrome. I had medical follow-up, took 3 medications, but had no results. I spent the month of October 2019 confined to my room with severe pain and dizziness. I didn't sleep for an hour for more than a week. I was getting cold sweats, and the tremors I experienced were uncontrollable. I stopped working because I had no condition to develop professional activities. My mother is a Johrei member, but she had been inactive for many years. Faced with the despair caused by my condition, which worsened every day, she remembered the church and decided to take me to receive Johrei along with my husband. Even crying a lot and afraid to leave the house, on November of 2019, I visited the Johrei Center for the first time. I stepped up the center's stairs and was immediately taken to receive Johrei. The missionary who received us explained to me the work of the divine light and reinforced that the more I received the Johrei, the faster I would overcome my purification. That night, I managed to sleep after a week of not knowing what it was like to get a night's sleep. I continued going to the Johrei Center daily with my husband, and each day felt an unbelievable improvement. Before long, I was able to go to the center by myself. My crises were spaced out and became less intense. After approximately 3 months, I no longer had them. My improvement was not restricted to anxiety and panic attacks. I became a more grateful, serene, and happier person. Experiencing these changes, I had an immense desire to channel Johrei to provide people with the same benefit I was receiving. Thus, I was blessed to receive the sacred focal point for Hikari in February of 2020. Afterwards, the quarantine began due to the pandemic, and I started to carry out our practices of faith in my home. I channeled Johrei to my husband, my mother, and myself, and had been offering my monthly donation of gratitude. I went back to work normally, and today I think only reduced dose medication to control anxiety. I thank God and Meishu-sama for the permission to be saved through Johrei, and I commit to share this light with others so that they find the path of happiness as useful elements for the realization of paradise on earth. Thank you very much. Today we heard this in Meishu-sama's teaching about how spiritual clouds from our negative thoughts and negative words affect the environment. So storms are created and can affect crops. That brings me the thoughts of my mother-in-law, who is now 88 years old. And for 70 years, that means since she was 18 years old, she has been practicing nature farming. Of course, now, because of her age, not as intensively as she used to. And she had a wonderful experience several years ago because there was a typhoon that affected Japan. And her plot of land was a part of a community garden. So she would grow rice and vegetables using the nature farming method that was advocated by Meishu-sama. And she had other neighbors that were doing their farming using conventional techniques, fertilizers, insecticides, and whatnot. So for 12 years, she was the joke of these other growers over there. They were thinking that she was crazy for not applying fertilizers and insecticides. So they were always teasing her, but she didn't pay attention to their words. So she kept doing what she knew was the right thing. And then when this storm, this typhoon came, all of her neighbors' crops were destroyed. Hers were the only one that stood still. As Meishu-sama teaches us, when we grow through nature farming method, the roots, they can go deeper. So they are more resistant to these weather extremes. So after that, they finally started paying attention to her, bowed their heads. Lady, could you please teach us what you are doing? Because it shows that definitely works. You know, she was the only one that had was not affected by that violent typhoon. And another experience I would like to share, this time happened in Florida in 2014. Reverend Romilson had invited me to visit Florida, and as part of my schedule there, we would first thing go to the community garden. We were working over there. First of all, I was very excited because I went from New York, so I was escaping the cold of the Northeast region here. So I'm going to Florida, I'm going to have some warmth here. And We start with the morning prayer, and as we were about to leave for the garden, which was just 5 minutes drive, this member came and asked, "Oh, today is the 12th year anniversary of my husband, Lawrence. Can we offer a prayer?" And him say, "Yeah, sure. But before we pray, please realize that Lawrence, your husband, it is within you. It's part of you too. You were married for some years, a couple of years, I don't even know, but the spiritual cord is very strong. So uh, let's invite him to go with us to the community garden." And then I looked at her eyes, and as if I was speaking with Lawrence, let's go together. Doing nature farming is not just about growing natural foods. It's about cleansing the spiritual realm. Okay? So she looked at me. All right. So we prayed and we went, and I could harvest papayas over there. We had a wonderful time, and also we start our activity there with a prayer. We were praying the Amatsu-Norito. While we were praying, the coordinator for that neighborhood of that community garden stopped by, and she saw us praying, and then she was very touched by that. She knew about Johrei. She was not a member, but she worked for the local government over there, and she knew about Johrei. But when she heard the prayer, she was also moved by that. And then Reverend that member, uh, Lawrence's wife, so she spent this all the time we were there. She was working in the field in Novador and whatnot, helping us out. So Reverend Romilso mentioned how amazing it was, because for so long that member was invited to go to that community garden, and she didn't pay attention, although she was living nearby. But this time, as we were praying, focusing uh, on the work from the spiritual realm, so she was there. She was happily helping out. So for me, also was a lesson, was an experience. That's why I want to share that with you. And last but not least, again, going back to my mother-in-law, when she was visiting me, that was in San Francisco in the 90s. Because of her passion regarding nature farming, she planted green onions in a disposable plastic cup. She planted that. She spent a few weeks with us. And when the green onions started sprouting, she came to me very excited, and look, it's growing. This is nature farming. This is the power of nature. At that time, I was not too focused, or my understanding of nature farming was quite limited. So I didn't pay much attention to her. And then, in fact, I felt, gee, my idea of nature farming is a farm, is something way bigger than this, not green onions on a plastic cup. Just years later that I would really understand her feeling, that power of nature. So I bowed my head in reverence to her. Mamila, I'm sorry for my ignorance at that time. You were right all along. But that's what Meishu-sama encourages us to plant naturally, even if you don't have a backyard, if you don't have a plot of land, you can plant in your apartment on something, and what you will consume will be not just natural, not just good for our bodies in terms of nutrition, but will be life that will be going to our bodies and to our spirits. So these foods grown in the nature farming way will purify us as well, and we can share with others. So many people have been guided and know Meishu-sama. Initially was not through Johrei, initially was by receiving something that was planted naturally, and they were excited, or when they ate, they felt, this is delicious. There is something different about this green onion that you just gave to me. So let's do our best. I want to wish you a very wonderful day today. Thank you very much.
This brings to a conclusion of our morning service. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and have a blessed day.